You aren't gonna believe how quick and easy it is to make these delicious chicken fajitas in the air fryer. I'm Justin from Cooking with Coit. I specialize in clean comfort cooking. And remember, if you love this video, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get started. Let's first go over all the ingredients you need to make this recipe. Boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 1 onion, 3 bell peppers, 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 green, or you could use all the same color if you want. Here are the spices that you're gonna need: chili powder, paprika, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt and pepper. And the one piece of special equipment that you need for this recipe is an air fryer. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is make our seasoning blend. So we're gonna first start with 2 teaspoons of chili powder. This fajita seasoning is actually very similar to a taco seasoning that I came up with on my website. If you guys are looking for a great taco seasoning, I stand by it 100%. It is so good. I know it's easy to buy taco seasoning in the store, but if you ever get in a pinch or you ever forget to buy it, definitely use the recipe on my website. I'm gonna link to it in the description below. Next, we're adding 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. Cumin is a very strong and amazing spice, but definitely be careful with it. You really wanna measure it out properly. I mean, I didn't really measure it out properly, but you should measure it out properly because if you put in too much cumin, it's gonna have a very, very strong taste. Yeah, just don't do what I did, I guess. Next, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of onion powder and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. For the salt and pepper, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. And you're gonna be thinking, it seems like a lot of salt, but honestly, you really need quite a bit of salt in seasoning. Salt is such an important thing in seasoning. You don't wanna add too much, of course. You don't want it to be too salty, but if you don't have enough salt, no seasoning is ever gonna taste good. And we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of mix. You don't need a whisk or anything. I'm just using my teaspoon measurement tool. And I love to give that a smell. It smells incredible. I love making seasonings. They're so great. Next, we're gonna move on and prepare our bell pepper slices. So there's a million different ways to cut a bell pepper. This is my favorite way. I first start by looking at the top of the bell pepper, and what I see is basically 4 sides, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I'm just gonna trim right down those sides, just like this. And what I've found by doing it this way, you get most of the seeds intact still on the stem, which is really nice because I can't tell you how many minutes of my life I've wasted knocking the seeds out of the rest of the bell pepper. It's just kind of annoying and I feel like it's a little unnecessary. This method really seems to work well. I do have a couple of residual seeds left in here, but it's not too bad. Next thing I'm gonna do is trim any excess membrane I'm seeing of the bell pepper. So it's just like this little white piece here. So I'm just gonna cut right here and just trim any little bits of that I can see. There's some right here too. Now I'm gonna cut this bell pepper into 1/4-inch slices. One really great tip too that I learned along the way in terms of cutting bell pepper, it's much easier to cut bell pepper from the inside out than the outside in. And the reason for that is that the outside, the skin is actually quite slippery. So you're more likely to slip and cut your finger if you're trying to cut this way, but if you cut from the inside, you've got nice rough texture to grab onto. And now I'm gonna do the same thing for my red and yellow bell peppers. Now we're gonna take this bell pepper and transfer it into a bowl, and make sure you keep the bowl close because we're gonna keep adding to it. Next, we're gonna cut our onion. So I'm just gonna split it in half here. And then I'm gonna peel off this outer layer. Now we're gonna be cutting this onion into 1/4-inch slices, just like we did for the bell pepper. Oh, guys, one thing that I learned recently, I think I learned it from TikTok actually, is that all of the really strong odor, I would say, from an onion, the stuff that makes you cry is all into the end of the onion where the stem is right here. So as long as you leave the stem intact, you're not gonna be crying from the onion. I don't know why I just found this out. I feel like I should have known this a long time ago, but if you don't know, now you know. So let's add our onion to the bowl with the bell pepper. Next thing we're gonna be doing is cutting our chicken into strips. So the first thing we're gonna do with the chicken is look at the chicken and just see, is there any extra fat that I don't wanna see and that I don't really wanna eat? So I just trim that off. There probably isn't gonna be too much. They're looking pretty good. So in terms of the size of these chicken strips, you have to really just think about what size do you wanna eat. So what I do is I just first cut it into long strips just like this, 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick, let's say. And then I flip it the other way And I just started thinking about what's a good bite-sized piece for these fajitas. Since this chicken breast is a little thick, I'm gonna do just kind of like that. I don't know if you'd even call these strips anymore. They're kind of like chicken pieces, but again, it doesn't really matter what shape you do, it's just what size piece do you wanna grab with your fork? Or I should say, we're not using a fork. These are fajitas. Well, you could eat them with a fork, but we're gonna be eating them in a flour tortilla. So what size pieces do you want in your flour tortilla? And just for reference, this was 1 pound of chicken. That's roughly 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Okay, now we're gonna transfer this chicken with our bell pepper and onion in our mixing bowl. All right guys, so now that we have everything in our mixing bowl, we're first gonna add a little bit of olive oil. You know, there's something funny that my cameraman Aman, who's shooting right now, said, that usually you don't put raw meat with a veggie in the same bowl and mix it together before you cook it. It's kind of like a rare thing. Like usually, you know, you'd cook your meat and then you'd add it to maybe your cooked veggies and combine everything after. But that is the beauty of the air fryer. It just makes everything so simple. We're just tossing everything in a bowl. We're gonna season it, mix it up, toss it in the air fryer, and then literally like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, it's gonna be done and it's gonna taste amazing. That is why I love the air fryer. It makes everything so easy. So now we're gonna add, actually, guys, don't add your seasoning until you mix up the olive oil with everything. I almost made a big mistake there. I've found over the years that it is so important to get the olive oil evenly distributed on anything that you're gonna season so that the seasoning has something to stick to. So give this a nice, good toss. And I don't know how much olive oil I just put in, maybe like half a tablespoon. You could put a tablespoon if you really want to. Again, the beauty of the air fryer, it's gonna make it crispy and delicious with so little oil. So really it's like, you can kind of keep it healthy and not use too much. Everything is mixed up. So now I'm gonna take my seasoning and just season everything just like this. Okay, let's give it a nice big toss again. Just try to get that seasoning evenly coated on every chicken piece, every bell pepper piece, every onion piece. Ooh, that is looking, I mean, listen, I'm gonna say raw chicken's looking good. I don't know if raw chicken ever looks good, but I know what's gonna happen here once we put it into the air fryer. Let me just show you how we're doing. This is what it's looking like right now. All right guys, so now we're just gonna dump all of this fajita mixture into the basket of the air fryer, and look at that. So you might be thinking, can we just layer everything into the air fryer basket like this? Like, should it have some room to breathe so the air moves around it? And I can say, because I've recipe tested this one thoroughly, no, you do not have to worry about it. Just pile it in. The air fryer will do all the magic so you don't have to worry about it. So I just give it a little bit of mix just to kind of push everything to the corners and just kind of get it on the same level. But after that, that's all you have to do. Just take it, pop it into your air fryer. My air fryer is having some problems right now. Something happened and like the little latch on the bottom kind of broke. So now it's having trouble sticking together. Oh, I think we're okay. All right, so we're gonna cook 350 degrees for 16 to 20 minutes. I say do 350 for 16 minutes. And then if it's not quite to your liking, just add a couple more minutes. So 350, I'm gonna add 1 more minute on the time and hit start. While these chicken fajitas are cooking, I wanted to tell you guys one thing that I've been getting a lot of questions about in the comments, and that is, do you preheat your air fryer? So here is my feeling about that. And I feel like there's some people that completely disagree with me, but I never preheat my air fryer. And the reason is because this is essentially just a very small oven with a very fast fan. It comes to temperature super quick, so I feel like wasting any minutes at all in trying to preheat it is kind of pointless because all you're doing is pulling the basket out, then it's cooling down, you're putting the stuff in and putting it back in. I really don't think you need to preheat. I never preheat and I always have great results. So that's how I feel. If you feel differently, let me know in the comments below and we can argue about it. All right guys, we have reached the halfway point on our cooking time. It's 9 minutes, but it's gonna be 8 minutes and a couple seconds, but we're close enough. So I'm gonna pop the basket out. Just give it a quick little toss just like this. But as you can see, I mean, look how beautiful the chicken and the veggies and everything is looking. All right, now we're gonna pop it back into the air fryer and let it cook for the rest of the time. All right, guys, these chicken fajitas are all done. All right, this looks so incredible. I cannot wait to give it a try, but before I do, if you love this recipe and you wanna see more just like it, check out my air fryers recipe playlist. Okay, let's give this a try. So I've got my flour tortilla, and I'm just gonna take some of these bell peppers and onions, put it right in there. And then I made a quick, very quick guacamole. Put that in the middle. Guys, these air fryer chicken fajitas are so incredibly tasty, and they're so fast and so easy to make thanks to the air fryer. You definitely have to give these a try. I'll see you in the next video.